Okay, so we're back. All right, so let's go into it. So we're talking about, once again, Palestine and Israel. This is something that is really a hot topic right now that a lot of people are interested in. A lot of people want to know more about. What does this actually mean? What does this mean for you as a listener? How is this going to shift things on an energetic mass collective level? Everything is connected back to simple cosmic laws. As above, so below. As within, as without. This manifestation of this war that has been declared is a manifestation of something that is taking place internally with us as the human beings, as a collective. As above, there are things that are happening planetarily that are causing massive shifts within our planetary sphere. There's astrological events, astrological alignments that are causing major changes on our planet on an energetic level right now as we speak. This is also a manifestation of one of those things. So what is one of the biggest shifts that we are going to see come out of this war as time goes on? So the first thing that I really want to acknowledge is that these types of events are truly rituals. One thing that a lot of people don't fully understand is that life itself is a very intelligently designed, complex ritual. So for those of you that don't know what a ritual is like a sequence of performances that then generate an energetic result. But in reality, every single moment is truly a ritual. At every single moment, there is something that is happening that is divinely orchestrated. A lot of the times, these things are very unconscious to us, but it's meant to lead in an evolutionary direction. So, especially when it comes to major events like what we're experiencing now between this war, this is a massive ritual that is now being performed that will absolutely affect the entire planet, that will affect every single human being that has consciousness. So with that being said, as I was rolling into it, what exactly can we expect to shift, or what are some of the things that are happening under the radar within that unconscious realm that are going to get triggered and are being currently triggered with this war that is taking place? So we need to look deeply into who's involved and the location of where this is happening. Okay? This is happening in Israel. This becomes very significant because this is the land of the Jews. This is the land of Judaism. And for those of you that don't know, modern time religion, specifically Christianity being one of the most significant ones, is rooted in Judaism, which means it has a lot of roots that connect back to the Holy Land of Israel. A large portion of religions today stem from stories and people that originated or lived in Israel. So as we look at our mass collective today, we see that Christianity and a whole bunch of other religions that are similar, meaning we have similar figures, Christianity, Catholicism, Mormonism, even, when it comes to being Muslim, there's similar figures in these different books, even though they're different. We can see that Christianity or Judaism has a huge mass collective influence on the entire population as a whole, especially if we're talking about the West, the United States of America. But it's way more widespread than just the West. Okay, this affects the entire planet because the West, the United States, is actually a very central space on the planet, meaning there's a lot of very important and powerful locations within the United States specifically that actually affects the entire planet as a whole when we're looking at it from an energetic stance. There are certain energy ley lines, earth energies, that exist within the United States that have massive influence on absolutely everything and on the entire planet as a whole. But as I'm saying that, so Judaism is at the root of a lot of religious beliefs, a lot of religious awareness. And it's not random that this war between Palestine and Israel is happening in the Holy Land. Okay? What does this actually mean? With the way that things have been ran on our planet for a very long time, it's been rooted in a lot of indoctrination. It's been rooted in a lot of misinformation, a lot of intentional programming to lead someone away from their authenticity. And this is natural when it comes to living on a planet that has a matrix. So, in many ways, Judaism and the way that it's been built into our modern times has been a system of religious programming that is a part of the matrix that we live in. For some people, this can be very helpful and this can be very beneficial. For most people, this becomes a very unhealthy coping mechanism that in the long run ends up hurting a lot of people just because of the nature of religious programming and how religious trauma is created and how being overly attached to any religion, especially Judaism, can very often lead you to a space where you are overly identified with certain scriptures, certain beliefs, certain God figures, whether it's Jesus or Yahweh, and using that as a scapegoat to not process your own trauma, to not go deeper inside of yourself and understand that you've got repressed negative emotions that need to be felt. But rather, religion oftentimes, not all the times, this is often can demonize repressed negative emotions, can make them seem like they're evil, make them seem like they're bad, make them seem like they're demonic, which keeps a person from being able to process their trauma. Now, once again, this is not the case for everyone. There are people that use religion. There are people that use their beliefs in Judaism or anything in that nature with Jesus or Yahweh or God for many beneficial things as well. There can be a lot of value that comes out of it, and there is a lot of value for a lot of people. For a lot of people, religion is a stepping stone into higher principles, higher truths. But once again, for the majority of the mass collective in modern times, it has been a strategic system that's been implemented within the matrix of our planet that has been designed specifically to be an unhealthy coping mechanism, an attachment to keep people as consumers, to keep people dumbed down, to keep people from looking inwards. And that is what it is. That just simply is what it is. It's a part of this planet. It's needed to be the way that it was, and it's been the way it's been the way that it was for a very long time. And during that time, it's exactly what it needed to be to create the proper amount of catalyst for the human species. But now we are at a very significant turning point in the mass collective as a whole. A very, very specific turning point. First thing first, we have the pandemic that hits 2020. That shifts everything permanently. Now we're seeing wars break out. Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine. Okay? Whenever there's a lot of death taking place, there is energy that is changing. Energy is in transference. I want you to imagine a person passing away. Imagine the soul and the spirit leaving the body, transitioning somewhere else. When there's death energy, when there's sacrifice, there is energy that is in movement. Things are changing. Things are transforming. Death is leading to rebirth. There's clearly a lot of death that has been taking place ever since 2020. Significant amounts, more than what we've seen in a while. So once again, what can we expect? We can expect some massive changes. What are some of these changes? as I'm talking about Israel being connected to Judaism, being the actual physical representation of the foundation of Judaism, the fact that this is happening in Israel is in many ways breaking down the religious program of Judaism. Now, I'm not saying that if you're Jewish, I'm not saying that if you have Jewish, a Jewish belief system, or if Judaism is a part of your way of connecting with spirituality, I'm not saying that that's going. I'm not saying that that's wrong or that's bad or that's going to leave. I'm just saying that there's some major shifts and changes that are currently taking place with it. And actually, at its deepest root, Judaism is rooted in a lot of, at its deepest root, there's a lot of value, so much beauty and value within Judaism as a whole. But the way that it's been designed, it's been intentionally misinterpreted. It's been corrupted to be installed within the mass collective matrix. So what we're seeing breaking down is this misinterpretation, is this corruption. We're seeing this religious program of religious indoctrination that is rooted in Judaism with Christianity and everything else connected, that is now being challenged on a spiritual level. This is literally what this war means right now. And what a lot of people don't understand is that religious programming is one of the most powerful, significant, influential programs, psychic programs, psychological, emotional, mental, and physical programs that is being run on the mass collective. Many people can sit here and say, no, it's not. I'm not religious. It doesn't affect me. And trust me, I know a lot of people who aren't religious. It doesn't affect me. Whether you believe it or not, there is so much more influence and so much more things that are going on in the world around us that do have a religious undertone. They have a Judaic undertone where they are leading into beliefs of duality, strong duality, good and evil, right and wrong, strong beliefs of savior archetypes. Oh, don't worry about looking inwards and facing what you need to face. Someone is coming to save you. Wait until that time. Wait till you get saved, right? That's the Jesus Christ archetype. Sacrifice yourself for someone else's sins. Give away your true self. Give away your purpose so that you can save other people, because that's the right thing to do. That's what it means to be a good little boy or a good little girl. Do that. Be like Jesus. Give yourself away. That is inauthentic. These are programs, these are influences that affect every single human being. This is mass collectively being ran on the entire population of our planet. And it's been this way for a reason. And that reason has played its role. But now we are shifting into a time where things are drastically changing. We're shifting into a time that we have never seen before. It is 2023, about to be 2024. 2024. When we add that up in numerology, 24, 6, 2 more, 8. That's the infinity symbol. That's also the symbol of the sphere of Hod, which represents Mercury and is connected to the mind. 8 is also known to be the number of chaos. Okay? These are some of the influences that we can expect within this upcoming year of 2024. Chaos, growth, expansion. That infinity symbol is the representation of the source, cosmic laws, changes to the mind, changes to the belief system, changes to the way that we identify with ourselves, changes to the ways we think. Okay, this is setting the stage to get much more into the body and feeling the emotions, embracing the feminine energy. It's naturally what happens. That's why one of the biggest things that started this whole war was the invasion in Hamas. And if you actually looked at some of the content or some of the videos that hit the mass collective, it was women dancing. Okay, there was a woman that got abducted. Women are getting, killed. All these crazy things. It's the women. on a very deep spiritual level, these women are playing roles of sacrificing themselves for the mass collective consciousness. Does that mean you want to be that person doing it? No, but that's what they're doing. That's where their life left them. And that is showing these signs of what's shifting in our mass collective. It is a feminine energy that is coming in 100%. So what we can expect moving into this new year, 2024, 2025, 2026, first and foremost, these are powerful shifts. These are important shifts. These are not things that you should be afraid of. Doesn't mean it's wrong to feel fear. You can feel fear about it. That's natural. That's healthy. But to stay afraid of it and to think it's a bad thing is wrong, because these are healthy shifts that are needing to happen on the mass collective as a whole. So there's a lot of benefits from all this as time goes on, because this is not the stuff that I'm talking about is not stuff that happens overnight. None of this is going to happen in the blink of an eye. This is going to take time to integrate. Okay, this is going to take years to fully integrate. I would say probably give it 5 years for it to actually manifest into the entire collective completely. So when I'm telling you that the matrix itself that we live in is literally being destroyed, this Judaic-rooted religious program that has been operating on the unconscious and subconscious mind of every human being on the planet, this is starting to be undone. This is huge. As I'm saying, I hope you really understand how significant religious programming is, how much it actually influences everyone. As that gets removed, yes, there is going to be a sense of, in many ways, a deep restriction being lifted on the mass collective as a whole, but that does not mean that's going to feel comfortable. With this lifting of this restriction, there is going to be a lot of emotions, a lot of negative repressed energies that have been inside everyone's bodies, everyone's nervous system, from traumas they've been through in their past, all the way down to different lifetimes. That restriction being lifted will set the stage for these things to surface. These things need to be surfaced. These things need to be felt. They need to be processed in order to be integrated so that you can step into the authentic self. So although there is so much value from this, there is going to be a lot of pain, sadness, anger, fear. And these are natural. This is natural emotions to experience. Now, there will be an introduction of a new matrix system. As this one is being broken down, as the religious system is being broken down step by step, slowly but surely, there is going to be a new system that will be implemented. Because as the planet is evolving, as the planet is shifting its density from 3rd density into a 4th density planet, which initiated in 2020, the matrix needs to be upgraded with that. The matrix, for those of you that don't know, the matrix needs to exist on our planet. It plays a healthy role for human catalyst. It's not something we want to get rid of. It's not something we want to change. We need to let it play out the way that it needs to play out. The matrix, since it's changing drastically, it will upgrade with the planetary's energy field. We're at a stage right now where there are many more people who are polarizing along the spiritual path of their purpose. In other words, people are polarizing towards the path that they are in most resonance with, between the positive polarity or the negative polarity. We're moving into a time where these polarities are going to get a lot more real and a lot more significant. And with that being said, I'm going to end up making an entire video that goes into very much depth on these polarities, because I know there's a lot of people that get confused when they hear me talk about this. They're like, well, aren't I positive and negative? I think I'm walking the middle path, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's wonderful. I understand that. And I'm going to break that down in depth in a whole separate video. I actually do even have a video on my YouTube channel right now that does discuss the polarities. I definitely recommend you can look that up. If you go to the search tab, Universal Mastery Polarities, you can get a lot of value from that. But as I was saying, more and more people are starting to polarize. What's been going on our planet in the past has been, there were people that were on the positive polarity. There were fewer on the negative polarity. Most people were in between. Most people didn't even understand what polarity they were. They weren't positive enough to shift into the positive polarity. They weren't negative enough to shift into the negative polarity. Okay? Service to others, service to self. We're going to see a drastic shift moving into these next couple years of people actually becoming conscious of what they're here doing, whether it's complete service to self path or complete service to others path. And that's powerful. This is naturally what comes from a planet that is shifting in its density. And I do personally believe that this planet itself is going to shift into a positively polarized planet. Meaning at some point in time, everyone on this planet will be on the positive polarity. That's where things are headed in the long run. This could be a very long time from now, though. This could be thousands of years in the future. But as this planetary matrix is shifting, this is where we're going to start seeing the introduction of artificial intelligence, artificial programming, specifically coming through the form of the Neuralink, the metaverse, and different technologies in that way, different unhealthy coping mechanisms to rid the self of negative emotions by plugging into artificial intelligence, which on the surface is going to look amazing. On the surface is going to look good, but underneath it is going to hinder the spiritual growth process for a lot of people. But this is going to be a part of the new world we're moving into, the new matrix. It is what it is. And there are people that need to make those decisions to learn from their mistakes at the end of the day. Okay? As the matrix is changing, as the matrix is shifting, it is going to get more polarizing as well. So what this basically means is that you're going to start seeing the programming much more clearly. So I want you to imagine when the pandemic unfolded and everyone was wearing masks. This gave you an opportunity to really see who's wearing the masks, to see what people are behaving like during this very challenging, intense period. This gave you a clear idea to realize who's getting the vax, who's not getting the vax, who's wearing the mask, who's not wearing the mask, who's behaving this way, who's behaving that way. Very polarizing. It gave you an opportunity to see what resonates with you. And this is a choice I'm not here to make for you. I'm here to present what's happening, and you can obviously make your own decisions. But I have my own decisions, and I know exactly what is the path that I'm on. And that's the path of being completely authentic to myself and doing what feels right for me, which is keeping things natural and organic in my body. Okay? So with that being said, as the matrix is shifting, as the planet is shifting, as this war is unfolding, it is initiating this new structured system that will be very polarizing. You will see very clearly, this is something that does not feel right for me, or this is something that does feel right for me. There's going to be a stronger separation between the two sides, between the political parties, the left and the right, between the genders, the man and the women, between the polarities, the positive and the negative. Now, at its deepest core, the beings that are actually doing the real integration work are going to understand that all polarities, although they exist, all dualities, although they exist, find harmony in the bigger source. Find harmony later down the road through the evolutionary progression. So even though I am someone who considers themselves on the negative polarity in this incarnation, I know that in further evolutionary experiences in my future, I will eventually move into the positive polarity. And I do not have hatred for anyone who's on the negative, or excuse me, anyone who's on the positive polarity. I have understanding. I have awareness on, oh, that's the path that they feel like they need to walk in this lifetime. Congratulations. That's wonderful. I'm glad that you found that path for yourself. Even though it's not the path that I'm walking, I understand that that's what's creating balance within the bigger whole. And I'm not going to try to change them. I'm not going to try to convert them to my beliefs. I'm going to let them be what they are. But that, and this will connect into the next video that I'll make, but even though there is duality, we live in a dual world. This is a dual matrix that we live in, which means we, on a physical level, and even we could even say on a mental level, we are here to polarize. We're here to, in many ways, choose a side, but know the deeper cosmic principles as we're choosing. We're here to play a specific role with a polarity to understand what we are internally, connected to all. And when I say choose a side, I don't mean, if you're a woman fighting against men, or in reverse. I don't mean if you're on the left, then you need to fight against the right. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, choosing a side between the polarities of spiritual evolution. Are you serving others primarily right now? And are you doing that wholeheartedly without a desire for power? Or are you serving yourself as the source? And do you have an intention for increasing your power? Are you here to build an empire? Is that what's driving you? Becoming aware of these two polarities can be very powerful in understanding which path you're walking down. These things will strengthen as time goes on, and we're going to see it happen in all these different areas too. So with that being said, this is my little breakdown on what you can expect coming into the Mass Collective and what's going to be initiating as a whole on our planet. So obviously now is the time to start working on processing your emotions. Start working on healing and reintegrating traumas that you've been through in the past. Start working on developing a knowledge and an awareness of cosmic laws, on the occult, on spirituality. Start asking yourself questions as to, why am I here? What are you doing here? What is your purpose? These are the things that are literally going to be the most important things as we're shifting in the future. And with that being said as well, my content, my YouTube channel, other people that are making content similar to this, that are in the occult field, that are in the spiritual field, this is going to be, in the next 10 years, 20 years, the most important content that's on YouTube, in combination with emotional processing, trauma integration, and all those other types of practices. Spirituality and nervous system regulation, emotional healing, this type of content is literally going to be the most important content that exists in the next 10 to 20 years. Like, meaning the people that are going to be the most viewed and most popular videos on YouTube are going to be individuals that are making this type of content. We're going to see a rise in this type of content, because that's what's happening with our planet. People are needing to shift in these ways. So there's going to be more people stepping into these positions. All of you are going to watch me grow and build my empire and create a space for individuals to actively and openly initiate themselves into the negative polarity and use this as a soul evolutionary growth path to connect themselves with the source, to connect themselves with their own authenticity, to heal their traumas on this path, but also build empires and implement new programs into the Mass Collective matrix, which is for the deeper degrees of the negative polarity. But you're going to see me do that as well. Okay? So with that being said, that's pretty much going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. There's not much more that I really want to cover on this.